There are several ways to connect with your emotions. It is vital to realize that the energy that got stuck in the emotion wants to move. This energy wants to be released, and therefore it knocks at your door as a physical complaint or as a feeling of stress or depression. For you, it is a matter of really opening up and being prepared to feel the emotion. Emotions are part of your earthly reality, but they should not get a hold over you. Emotions are like clouds for the sun. Therefore, it is so important to be aware of your emotions and to deal with them consciously. From a clear and balanced emotional body, it is much easier to contact your soul or inner core through your intuition. In your society, there is much confusion about emotions. This is evident, among other things, from the amount of debate and confusion there is about how to raise your children. Children clearly are much more emotionally spontaneous than you are as adults. This creates difficulties. What if some of your moral boundaries are crossed? What if the situation gets out of hand and chaos arises? Does one have to discipline children or let them express themselves freely? Do their emotions have to be controlled or not? What is important in a child's upbringing is that they learn to understand their emotions, to understand where they come from, and to take responsibility for them. With your help, the child can learn to see their emotions as explosions of misunderstanding. This understanding prevents your child from drowning in their emotions and going out of control. Understanding liberates and brings you back to your own center without repressing the emotions. The parent teaches their child to deal with emotions in this way by being the living example of it. All the questions you have about dealing with your children also apply to yourself. How do you cope with your own emotions? Are you hard on yourself? When you feel angry or sad for some time, do you discipline yourself by saying, "Come on, get yourself together and move on"? Do you suppress the emotion? Do you feel that disciplining yourself is good and necessary? Who taught you this? Was it a parent? Or do you go to the other side? Do you wallow in your emotion, not wanting to let go of it? This also is frequently the case. You may have felt for a long time that you were a victim of some situation outside of you. For example, your upbringing, your partner, or your work environment. At a certain moment, it may have been very liberating to get in touch with the anger inside you about the negative things that influenced you. Anger can enable you to break free from these influences and go your own way. However, you may get so enamored with your anger that you do not want to give it up anymore. Instead of becoming a doorway, it becomes a way of living. A form of victimhood then arises, which is anything but healing. It holds you back from truly standing in your own power. It is very important to take responsibility for your own emotions and not to make absolute truths of them. When you give them the status of truths instead of looking upon them as explosions of misunderstanding, you will base your actions on them, and that will lead to uncentered decisions. The same happens with children who are allowed too much emotional freedom. They run wild and become uncontrollable. They become little tyrants, and that is not right. Emotional chaos is just as unpleasant for the child as it is for the parent. In short, you can either be too strict or too lenient in dealing with your emotions, and, by analogy, with your children.